What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Butterfly Effect Podcast. Today, I'm joined by my Shanty. For all you nosy hoes,
they've been waiting for this one.
Y'all were waiting for this one. I'm joined by Pricilla. Yay. Thank you for coming on and agreeing to this because we're both like a little nervous, obviously.
A little bit.
But it's gonna be good, and I think it's gonna be super like relatable to other people who will find themselves in similar situations. Like friendships ebb and flow, and we'll get into it, but I'm really excited that you agreed to come on and chat.
I'm excited to be here. I think I've been like waiting to talk about it, and I think for people that want to know or anybody that's going through it or wants something similar, I think it's kind of great that we can share our experience.
Oh yeah.
And be able to talk about it together and be vulnerable. I think that's hard. I mean, this is kind of like a safe space.
It is super hard, but yeah, this is definitely a safe space, and I agree. It is super relatable. I know you were sitting like, when's my time? Like, let me on this podcast.
No.
Let me on the couch.
I was like waiting for the time where you were gonna be like, so do you want to like come on my podcast and talk about our story? But I think we've both healed and we've come a long way. So I think there's a lot to like talk about.
100%. The timing of it all, like we are at such a good place now in our friendship, probably better than ever because we are healed in those healed from those versions of ourselves, and we're gonna get into all of that today, from the start to the middle to the finish, and what the future holds. But yeah, thank you again.
Of course.
To start and kick us off, let's talk about how we met back in our Maple Grove Crimson days. So Syl and I were in the same foundations class. Shout out Nordcheck.
I don't think I ever did that.
That's Spider-Man first. Yeah. Nordcheck.
Oh, God.
I hope she's doing well, and everyone in that foundations class, but what do you remember of me? Or meeting me?
I don't think that we talked a lot in high school. I remember like just seeing you, and like we were kind of like in our own world. Mm-hmm. Like I think I've said hi to you once or twice, but we never really like fully talked, did we?
No, I was super shy. Like if it wasn't my close friend group in high school, I was very shy. Like I would not talk in class. Like who you know me as now.
Oh yeah.
Not who you met me, because I was very shy in high school because I felt like such an outsider. So I was really to myself unless it was my like immediate friend group. Yep. I remember like you being with Ian and like always telling him what to do. And then you still do. Something's never changed. But I remember that, and like you were part of the popular girls. So I was intimidated by Syl. You were.
I think high school was a very dark period for a lot of people, and I don't think I really knew myself either. You know, I think I tried hard to fit in and be liked, and I would try and dabble with different friend groups and stuff, but thankfully I had Ian, and like he kind of was my whole high school career. But yeah, I don't like that terminology of like people are like, oh, you're with the cool people or whatever, because sadly that was a thing. Because
I remember now that I know you, obviously you've also experienced like feeling like being an outsider part of that group.
Yes.
Yeah. So I now seeing from the outside it looked different. Yeah. But now knowing you, it was a different experience, and we actually had a lot of similarities, which is what actually bonded us. Like especially once we got to college and we actually started to become really good friends. Yep. But I would say like we were in the same foundations class. We knew of each other. I think we started talking because I had almonds. These with
with cinnamon?
Yes, with cinnamon on them. And that's you're like, what's that? And I was like, here, have some. And then we bonded over food.
And we still do.
Some things never change.
No, wait, that's actually so funny that you remember that moment.
Yep, I remember that. And I also remember you thought I saw your perfume, but it was somebody else.
Oh my God.
It was somebody else.
Wait, we were in history class or whatever. I remember it was one class, and I remember like I was looking for my pink perfume. Mm-hmm. And I remember just looking at you, and I was like,
I wasn't in that class with you. Yeah.
It was somebody else, and I thought you were her. Mm-hmm. Because I was like, okay, these two looked like
theme
twins.
Of my high school, by the way.
Looked like twins. And I was like, did you steal my perfume? And you're like, what the fuck?
I was like, no, I don't even have a class. Like, why would I do that? I don't even have a class.
Yeah, that was, I was very mean. I felt like I would just like jump to conclusions right away.
Well, you thought it was, I can understand It was stolen, I'm sure.
I forgot about that.
I'm sure it was stolen, but it was not by me. I'm innocent. I swear. But we got past that because I gave her some almonds, and then we mended each other's hearts. But then we like all knew, like towards the end of senior year, everyone obviously starts talking about where you're going to school. And we all were going to St. Cloud, and like naturally you want to, you know, kind of befriend the people that you're going to go into that next chapter of life with. And we ended up being in the same dorm as each other, a couple dorms away.
Just 2 doors down, I think.
2 doors down. But we still weren't very close because you would go home a lot on the weekends. And then I was on the cheer team, so I was just very involved on campus. I didn't go home as much. And so, like, but we were always still nice to each other. Like, if I remember I was going through a breakup and you came and talked to me, like, I knew, like, Syl was somebody I was a friend. We just weren't super close at that point. And then it started to get towards the end of freshman year when you're making decisions of where you're going to live. And we all wanted to get a house together.
No, it wasn't all of us wanting to get a house. We had no friends. I felt like true friends that we wanted to like. You had a lot of friends because she was a cheerleader and like, you know, you were very active and like you did all these communities and stuff and clubs. But I think it came to the time, like it came down to the time when we were like, shit, we need to find a house. Like everybody had already found roommates and a house. And you, me, KK, and Ian were like.
And it was a couple others too, but they dropped out of it.
Yeah, and we're like, we need to figure out something really soon. And then so we were touring, right? And we were like, what is this? And it was so bad.
Yeah. Oh, our first house. It was like fun though. Syl is such like the best house mama.
Yeah.
She like got everything in line. She like told us, you paid this much on this much. I'm gonna get this. She told us, don't even worry about the decorations.
Yeah, I was like, I'll take care of it. The candles, I'll buy it.
Yeah, you did have those candles on
all the time because it smelled so bad in there.
And I feel like the first living in that house, even though you went home a little bit that year too.
Yeah.
We were so bonded. Actually, it was the summer before because we knew we were gonna live together, and like me and you went and got like froyo together, and like we just started to learn each other's stories more, and that's when we were like this, like we really bonded.
I think we like knew that we were similar with each other. I also have that picture still from froyo. You should insert.
I would. Oh my god, it's embarrassing, but I
still have it.
Okay, yeah, send it to me.
But I mean, I still have our first pictures when we moved in. But
I'll put those in.
Yeah, we. Connected right away, and I think I went home a lot. I think I was dealing with a lot of family stuff freshman year of college, so I was never really around, and I think I still was trying to find like myself. And I think you were a cheerleader, you had like all these cheerleader friends, like cheerleading friends and like teammates, and I didn't really have any friends. I think because obviously I didn't join any clubs or stuff. I really stayed to myself. And I wasn't like a huge drinker, I think, in college, which kind of made me not want to go out.
Yep.
And you guys wanted to go to parties all the time, and I'm like,
we did.
Go ahead, you and KK can go.
Me and KK were in those streets.
Like, and always having the parties and stuff too at our house.
We did the pre-games,
all the time. But like, I think eventually, I was like, okay, this is my life, and like these girls are like my best friends now. And I think that's when I started to stay home. Like, I think things at home started to settle. And then I didn't work at Victoria's Secret because I was working at Victoria's Secret at the time. Yep. So I was driving home every weekend because I needed a job. And then we got the job at Capital One. I was there, and then I think once I had the job and I was around, I stayed in St. Cloud majority of the time.
You did, yeah. And I feel like, did you ever feel like you were left out?
Oh yeah, all the time.
What made you feel that? Because you just weren't doing
you and KK went to high school together, and you guys were cheerleaders there. Then you guys came to St. Cloud, and you guys had a lot in common there too. And you guys like knew a lot of people because you guys came to cheerleading camps, right, in St. Cloud or whatever.
Yeah, we came a little. We were
for summer, right? Like you guys were there, and you guys met a lot of the football players, and were friends with them. And I think I wasn't comfortable with myself either, and like I didn't really feel like I knew where I was gonna fit in, and so I was left out. And I think a lot of that was like, I'm gonna go home because I don't want to party. Like I thought I was like better than everybody because I was like, I don't drink, like I'm fine, I'm gonna go home. But yeah, I think a lot of that was projecting jealousy for sure. I was like, I don't like Ludo and Kiki are always going out, and like you guys used to ask me to go out, and then of course I said no. And I think you guys were so like, she's gonna say no regardless, because I think I brought that up to you guys, and I was like, you guys just always leave me out, and you're like, well, you never want to come out with us.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it made sense because even if you would have asked me, I would have still gone home. So
but we would do other things, like we'd have family dinners.
Yes.
And like we'd go to like
haunted
houses. And I remember we would do like and go see movies a lot. Like there was things that we would do, but when it came to going out, that wasn't your thing.
No. And
like we wanted to invite you, and anytime you would, we would get so lit.
Yeah,
like, we would get so excited.
So excited.
But we understood it wasn't your vibe at that time. But I think one of the things that also bonded us in college is I was in a relationship, you were obviously in a relationship, and we wanted to do like couple stuff together, and that was really fun. And then when that was starting to end, like you were really there for me. So was KK, but you were really there for me and helped me like navigate that, and that was really challenging for me. But you were always there for me, and I remember that, like you were somebody who was like my backbone during that time. And then we just kept living together, and we kept doing life together, going on trips together.
Oh my gosh, spring break. Oh. Yeah, we were there. I mean, from sophomore year up until we were super seniors.
We just couldn't say goodbye.
No, it's a St. Cloud thing, I think. Not goodbyes. I could have left there any faster.
I'll never go back. That's for sure.
Absolutely not.
I'll never go back. But we could not close the book, and we traveled the world together. Literally went to Greece and Italy.
Didn't we? We like took this class, right? What, didn't you already take it? I think I told Luda or something. Somebody had brought it up that we were like, let's go to study abroad.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna take this class just so I can go on the trip. And then you had already taken it because I think it was part of your credits.
No, I hadn't taken that.
Okay, so then something happened. We both took the class.
Yeah, we had to take it. It was on Saturdays, remember? And then we had, it was like 1 or 2 Saturdays before the trip, and then we went on this 3-week amazing vacation that in my mind was a vacation. And it was vacation. It was basically vacation, and you had to write these papers when you got back. I didn't write the papers.
Wait, did you pass?
Yeah, barely. I got a D. That was the only D I've ever got in my entire life was study abroad.
Honestly, I highly recommend teachers, if you're listening, I think that is stupid. I think they shouldn't make people write papers after the trip.
I mean, and it wasn't even that bad. I just probably have ADHD. I didn't want to do it.
No.
I was checked out. I was like, we're back from the trip. I'm done.
Summer's over. Like, we're back to school. We're actually, summer wasn't over. We're just starting summer.
It was kicking off, yeah.
So we're like, let's not do anything.
What do you remember about that trip? It was so fun, minus all of the museums. This girl, oh my God. First of all, I'm somebody, I would meet the vibe of the place. I was ready to learn, listen to the whispers, listen to all the facts. Like, we're in Greece, I'm trying to learn. This girl could care less.
I hated listening. I think the more I listened, the more I would doze off.
No, she could not. She was like,
and then I would have one ear. I would have one ear in, and everyone's like with 2 earplugs, and they're like walking around like, wow. And I'm like, cool.
You're like, where the fuck? Like, come on. Like, this girl could care less that we were in this ancient city. She could care less.
Also, remember when we got to Rome? I wanted to see the Colosseum so bad. And everybody had the whispers on. And I remember, I was like, Luda, you have to get this picture of me standing in front of the Colosseum. They were, talking about the history of the Colosseum. And I'm like, I don't care. I literally had one headphone in and one out. And I remember just standing there, and I was like, take the picture quick. And then, everyone, literally, I ran in front of the whole group as we were walking towards it. And Luda took the picture. We have to insert this picture.
This one is
because I'm literally just standing here
It reminds me of the kid from Up. I don't know. You just look like such a little girl in it. Yeah, or the one with the ice cream.
Oh my gosh, the gelato. And I was like, I can't eat this fast. And it went all over my hands, my shirt, my mouth.
Us in the life jackets on the cruise.
That was the one, I was going to say, that was the one memory that I remember.
Oh, good.
Because it was so fun. We're just sitting there with our life jackets. We're like, what's going on?
Because part of it, so we landed in Italy and toured Italy and did all the things in Italy. Then we went on a cruise through the Greek islands.
Yeah.
And they have to teach you safety stuff, and so of course we don't take that seriously. So we were just fucking around in the life jackets. So insert clip here.
Oh my gosh.
So many memories.
Wait, do you remember the one when we almost missed our shift?
Traumatizing.
There was 4 of us. We had 2 other roommates, and then it was me and Luda. And Luda and this other girl were cheermates. They were friends with each other, and they were, of course, the most fit and most fastest. And we literally took the city bus. Why did we do that? No idea. We should not have left. We left the island, explored the neighborhood.
We thought we were doing what we should.
Right. And then we got told that the ship was leaving. And we were like, we have no time to leave. And I remember just Luda and the girl just booking it. I was like, you know what? They got it. Like, if they run, I won't be allowed.
So like only one of us got to make it to the ship.
And I walked from the rest of the time.
Oh my God, it was so scary because we could see the ship in the distance and hear the horn.
Oh my gosh.
Saying like, get your asses back to the ship. And we are all the way, and we were trying to find a taxi, an Uber, and we're like, get on the bus. And so everyone's like talking like nervous. I'm silent because I am shitting my pants. Like when I get anxious, I'm like, lock in.
I just remember your face. You were like, your cheeks were like,
I could not. I was so scared. I'm like, what do we do? I'm like in my head game planning. Like, do we have to get on an airplane to the next place? Because that's what they said. They said they don't come back for you. That. So I was like, oh my God. And we made it. Thank God. But we were sprinting.
You two. Not me. I want to make that very clear. I was not fit back then and I did not run. Like my ankles were giving out. I just remember like my heart was coming out of my chest and I was like, I'm not okay. Like my life is more important. Like if I have to catch up later, then I will.
You guys got it. My adrenaline took over and I was like, go.
I remember that.
We made it back on.
Oh my
Obviously
gosh.
We're here back in the US. But that
fun.
was, there were so many funny memories from that trip. Like I wish I would have done it more.
Me too.
I wish I would have done it more, but I'm glad that I did at least that one and with you.
Yeah.
Anything else about college that stood out to you in our friendship? And
I don't know. I don't think so. I think we kind of nailed it. Like that was that sums it up. The parties, our study abroad trip, roommates.
We lived together from sophomore year through super senior. So like that is a long time to live with someone. You just get to know each other so much. And the great thing about Sil, like she's such a family person and a friend person. Like she brings people together and that's really important to her. And that like really stood out to me because she would make like, we're going to do family dinner. And that was like such a good time for us all to come together and just like be with each other. Like not partying, not drinking, just hanging out. And like that was like themes throughout our whole college. And I think that's why we all stayed so close. Like you really were the glue of that all. So yeah.
Wait, I didn't see it that way. Like, I mean, like, I didn't see it, like, I didn't know that you viewed it that way.
Oh my God.
Because it was, like, I think I had to try to find another way to bond with KK and Luda especially, because they were, like, if they went out and partied, like, I was like, can I do something else that, so I wouldn't feel left out. And I actually am glad that you viewed it that way, because I think that if it wasn't for those, like, dinners and stuff, or movies, I really don't think that we probably would have been as close.
No, I loved that we did those. And you were literally the person responsible for it. So shout out to you.
Love that.
And you brought like all Ian's friends together too. Like that's why the group was together. It was because of you. Every time you'd plan. She's the planner. Like she's the planner friend. I'm the supporter. Like what do you need?
You're good at also like very like I'm really good at like thinking of like planning the logistics, and you're very good at like doing the in-betweens and like
we complement each other.
Yeah, exactly.
We complement each other's strengths, and she does my weaknesses are her strengths.
Yeah, exactly. Vice versa.
Yeah. And then after college was coming, I knew I wanted to move to like California or somewhere out of Minnesota, because growing up I wanted to go to school outside of Minnesota, but I got scared and then I didn't get into the U, so I was like St. Cloud, I guess. So that's how I ended up at St. Cloud. But I not regretted, but I knew that I wanted to push myself and try something else. And I thought in my mind I was going to go to like Austin, Texas or Cali. And you were like, I'm moving to Chicago. Do you want to come with? And I was like, sure.
I remember that conversation. And actually, I still remember when we were like kind of serious about California.
Yeah.
Because I remember Oceanside. And I remember looking it up and like
I have the Google Sheets still.
Yeah, and I remember like at Capital One, Capital One, when we would, at the call center, we would literally look at houses and stuff that was available. And I was like, Luda, I don't think we can afford this.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a lot of like planning and stuff. And then I remember I remember having that conversation because Samantha was out in Chicago already. She graduated a year before, and she was like, you need to come to Chicago. And then I remember like just like a long shot. And I think part of me was like, I felt bad because I was like, okay, how do I tell Luda that I don't want to go to California anymore because I just think it's way too far and I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And then I remember like sitting down at the stairs at our last house, and I was like, would you ever consider coming to Chicago? And you literally were like, yeah. Not even like a blink of an eye. Like, let's do it. Like, I would love to do that. And I remember sitting there, and then me and you were talking, or like, we're going to make it happen. And then we were like, how do we ask KK this?
Because KK, and still is to this day, a huge family person.
Very.
She almost didn't even come to St. Cloud because she wanted to stay home and like do like commuter school. And I was like, no, sorry, Marina and Alex, but I was like, no, you need to do something for yourself. Like, and we were like, we got to ask her about Chicago. And what did she say? What did she say at first?
No, she literally was like, are you guys serious? Like, she's like, let me think about it. And then I think it was like after a couple of days, she's like, I would love to go to Chicago. I actually remember it wasn't a lot of convincing like we thought it was.
Okay.
Me and you were like, I think we were like nervous that like we were going to break up the three of us, like the three amigos. And I remember I was like, we still have to go if Kiki doesn't go. Like, I don't. Like,
unfortunately.
Yeah, like we kind of have our mindset. And I think KK was kind of like a little like trying to figure out if she wanted to go or not. And then she was like, let's do it.
Yep.
And I think we started looking at apartments, and I was like finding realtors for us to work with. And then we did tours. Yep. Didn't she like send us houses, and we would like tour emails, and like all of us would like look through and we're like, what?
Such a process. Like, yeah, we went through so many, like, and remember, I've been to Chicago when I was younger, so I don't know the neighborhoods, I don't know the areas, I had known nothing, but you had Sam, who was really helpful too. Yeah. And I remember we went early and we stayed
in February. I remember that I had a job interview.
Yep.
Because I had known that I was going to go to Chicago, and
yep.
I think when Luna and I had talked about it, then Luda was like, yeah, let's go. And then I was like, well, I have a job interview. Let's go to Chicago and let's figure out if you want, because I'd never been there. And like crazy me, I was like, oh, let me just go to a city that I've never been there. No, never. And Samantha, I remember everyone looking at me. They're like, you've never been to this city? Like, are you sure you want to go there? I was like, no, I'm positive.
Oh my God, I didn't realize that for some reason.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I really hadn't been there either, but you really hadn't been there. Oh my God.
Besides February.
But it was so... I just remember being there and being like, yeah.
Oh, 100%. I remember like literally we were walking down the streets and we were in, I think, Gold Rush. Was it Rush Street?
Yep.
And I remember like walking by all the bougie stores and I was like, this
girl.
This is my spot. We were in front of the Dior shop.
Yeah,
the sprinkles. And I was like, this is like, I literally knew instantly. I was like, I am meant to be here.
I just loved the energy of Chicago. Like, it just felt like a new, fresh start. Like, St. Cloud was so fun, and we made it what it was, but it's so small town, too.
Very.
And it's very, like, y'all got some racist-ass people that
White cloud.
Just, white cloud for a reason, babe.
Yeah.
And I just knew, like, Chicago was, like, so fresh start. Like, you just saw somebody from every walk of life. There was just so much energy, so much life there, and I was like... I want this so bad. And I knew I wanted to move somewhere else. I didn't know where. I'm like, if my best friend's moving there, what a better opportunity than now. Like, and I just knew without a doubt I was doing it. I wasn't like, I was sad I was going to be away from family, but I was so excited for the next chapter. And so, yeah, through all of that, we eventually finally found a place in Wrigleyville. And that was such a good location.
The best. Honestly, I think anybody that's new to Chicago needs to live in Wrigleyville. I think if you're young, especially.
Yes.
Like, it is like the pace of speed. Like, you're not downtown where everything's like crazy expensive.
Right.
But you're also like where the games are and where all the bars are, and everybody from Loyola and DePaul are staying, and like you kind of just like fit in with the audience there, like the demographics.
It's a good mix between like end of college age people and like out of college, like freshly out of college. So it's younger, but like not super, super young, which it was like literally perfect for us. And then like on one side of us was the train, we were right there. And then the other side, there was that cute Southport, and it was like that little bougie strip. And I just remember like we didn't have cars, so we had to relearn. Walked everywhere. We had to relearn how to like live in a new city. It was so fun, but also very challenging.
Oh my gosh. I think the first year of Chicago was like one of the worst times of my life, but in like a lot of growth, I think. Like I also was like someone that didn't like walking. I drove everywhere. Like literally, Luda, you would vouch this, that like our college house across the street was Toppers. I drove there to get pizza.
I could hold your hand.
Yeah, and I still drove.
In the door of Toppers.
I still drove. Yeah. Or like Capital One across the street. Still drove to work.
And now being like our Chicago-minded self, if we ever would walk to Capital One,
to
we would never do that.
No, but like I'd be so sick to my stomach if like Chicago us now was like, why are we walking Like, why are we driving across the street?
Literally. It was just such a shift of everything. And I know for me, like, we're going to get into the challenges. There were so many good things. Like, honestly, there were so many new experiences that we got to experience together. And there was so much good out of Chicago. And I'm sure we'll get back to that too. But the challenges was really hard because, one, we're both out of college. You're in a long distance relationship now for the first time in your entire life. You and Ian had been together forever. Yeah. And not even only together, like, you guys were like this, inseparable. Like thick as thieves, two peas in a pod. So living in different cities, let alone different states, that was a huge adjustment for you. Me, like, my whole life, like, just being in general, when you graduate college, you just go from the shift of having so much structure, being told what to do, and if you learn the system and you're successful at it, you get accustomed to, like, being good at what you're doing, and then you get pushed into the real world and be like, okay, figure it out, and you just don't, like, there's nothing, you just don't know where to start, you don't know what to do. And at least me, I felt like very lost. I felt like I was a high achieving student. I graduated with honors. I was on the cheer team and all these committees, and then I was like at the bottom of the totem pole in the real adult world, in the world that matters. And I like just went through this really like identity crisis. I didn't know, like, I don't know. I was very insecure. I was out of cheer, so I wasn't working out the same amount as I was. I was gaining a lot of weight. Birth control played a factor, but it was more so just like I'm drinking. I'm not working out as intensely as I was. Like, your body just, you get older, it changes, it metabolizes differently. And I didn't love myself. I don't know. I did not like myself. And it was really hard to deal with that internally, and I tried my best not to like let anyone else know. Like, I will isolate myself a lot, and you guys hadn't seen me in that way before. No, because I hadn't really ever been through that before. Like, I really was depressed, and I didn't know. I didn't have words for it because I had never experienced that before, and I was embarrassed that I felt that way. I'm like, I have this chance at a new life. I'm in a new city with my best friends. Like, I should be having the time of my life, but I hated myself, and I hated how I looked. I hated that I wasn't making all this money. Like, I felt like I couldn't do anything because the job I was working was like really good for my professional development, but financially was not paying me shit. So I felt like I was constantly broke, and I couldn't keep up with you guys, and I felt like I felt like I was failing. And I think that was like my first time in life where I really felt like a failure, but I didn't want to admit that because that's embarrassing. Yeah. And then you were going through your own stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I think my, like, issues when I graduated and I moved to Chicago, because I was out there 2 months before you had moved. Yes. I was, like, the complete opposite, I feel like, of Luda. I had always had somebody with me, so I was never independent. Like, I like grocery shopping, I'd always ask Ian to come with me, or, like, other people. And then I think when I got to Chicago, I got the job offer, and it was a sales job in Chicago, and I was like, perfect. I love sales. Like, I'm the perfect for this. I'm really outgoing. Ended up hating my job, actually. Like, I was miserable there. Yep. And I think with the mix of hating my job, because obviously I was out of college, so I didn't really know what I wanted to do anyways. Like, I agree with you. Like, I was in the same boat of, like, I was doing something. I went to school my entire life, and I think only working a full-time job, I was like, what's happening here? So yeah, I hated my job, and then I had to learn to live by myself, and Luda didn't move until July. And that was really hard because I was in a big city by myself. And I remember, like, I lived with Samantha for like 3 weeks, so, like, with Samantha and her roommates. Yep. And that was the hardest thing of my life. Like, all of Samantha's roommates and Samantha had been accustomed already to the lifestyle. Like, these girls had already graduated college, like, they loved their jobs. And I remember coming home and I was like alone, and like they would go do happy hour with their coworkers, they like would go to the gym and like all this stuff, and I'm like, and Samantha was dating her new, like her boyfriend husband now at the time, and like she was always at his house. And I remember like I was like, this is awful.
And I remember you calling me like crying, and
I was like I came here like for Samantha, and I felt like she wasn't with me, and like obviously me and Sam had worked that out, but like I really, like, I kind of, like, came into Chicago thinking that I could put all of my problems onto Samantha, I think. And I think
that's real.
That kind of, you know, me and Sam, I remember her talking to me, and she's like, I feel so awful. And I was like, you know what, like, I appreciate that, but I think I was relying on her to do everything. I thought that she was going to solve all of my problems, be that person that was going to be like an Ian to me, and she wasn't, and that's okay. I think it made me learn how to be independent. But I think also what came with Chicago was hating my job, a new lifestyle. I was never really into like working out. I feel like in college, like I would work out, but like never did a lot of that. And Chicago was a huge walking city, so I had to walk to my train. I remember like getting a rush of anxiety every time. I'm like, my legs hurt, my shins hurt. Like I was like, I don't have the right shoes. Like I just didn't experience, I didn't know what Chicago was like.
Everything was new.
Yeah, and I think I was super depressed in a sense where I wasn't eating. Like I remember dropping like 10 pounds in a month, like so unhealthy because I didn't take care of myself. Like I think I would literally go to sleep hungry every night. And I would go to work and I hated my job, but I was friends with people that I worked with and I saw other people not eating as well. And I was like, well, I'm not going to eat. And so I remember like, I would have a boiled egg to tide me over all day. And then I would drink kombucha. That was like my whole month. I remember like my first time, and I was so unhealthy. And I went from someone that was eating all these meals and I would like meal prep things that like weren't really healthy and like didn't walk and just mixing and not eating, and like all this walking kind of brought me down a really bad bunny hole.
Yeah. And yeah, I remember in the moment I was thinking like, because I'm in my insecure mind, and like, mind you, we have come a long way with this, so we can talk very freely about this now. But in the moment, like, I was going through a change opposite of her, right? And I'm like very insecure in myself at that moment, and I'm seeing her thriving in my mind from the outside perspective. I'm like, oh my God, Sil looks amazing, like blah, blah, blah. And I've always thought she looked amazing, but like, you know, when you're in that insecure, you see someone losing weight, you just like that, you're like, oh my God, she's killing it. Now I feel even worse about myself. And that's not her fault at all. And I didn't intentionally ever try to make her feel that way, but I'm sure, you know, when you're insecure, that seeps out. People can pick up on that energy. Yeah. And I just like, I felt like this weird competition, and we both felt it, and I had no idea she felt it towards me, because I'm like, why would you even feel it towards me? Because I'm like depressed. Like I remember when we first moved there, I was so insecure, and you guys wanted to do a beach day. I pretended I was sick because I did not want to go to the beach and put on a swimsuit. Like and I would never do that now. Today I don't give a fuck. You can see this cellulite, baby. I don't care. But like I remember pretending to be sick, and I just I was just depressed, and I did not have a social battery. Like I did not want to be around anyone, and I knew like that was your best friend, and I just was like, I don't have it in me to like do that. And that, knowing me, and if you know me and you watch me, that's not who I am. Like I'm telling you, I was depressed. And yeah, so I remember lying and being like, no, I don't feel good. And then you guys went to the beach, and I just was like, I remember it just kept getting triggered. Like I just kept feeling like so insecure. Yeah.
Which I feel so sad, because I really didn't know her. I remember like you opened up to me a few times, and you're like, you know, I'm sad, or like I'm trying to get used to things. And in my head, I think Luda didn't know, but I was triggered by my own mindset. Like I think after I had lost the first 10 pounds, I was like, I want to get at it. Like I want to keep moving my body. I got a gym membership, and I remember like I had never experienced like losing weight my entire life, and finally I was like, wow, like I actually am I'm getting smaller clothes, and before like my clothes are so big on me, and I was like, it started to eat me alive to the point where like it messed a lot with like my head. And like when you were having all these issues, and I remember I was like, I have these issues too, you know. And I remember like I feel like I was battling with you feeling insecure, and then I was feeling insecure. And I think like I also, Ludo, you can say this, like I was not someone that ever talked about my feelings. Ever. Yeah. Like I hated when someone would sit there and ask me how I'm feeling. And you were the only person that actually did that to me. Yeah. But I think I was trying to like shield myself, because you had opened up to me about being vulnerable, about feeling insecure about your body. And I didn't really want to come back and tell you like, okay, well, I'm not eating. Like I'm starving myself actually. And like I'm working out multiple times a day, and like I'm doing things that I shouldn't. I'm taking diet pills, like just anything that I can to like lose more weight. And I think like I was so caught up in my own mindset that like you struggling, like I feel bad, because had we had both known that both of us were struggling, like I think it would have been way different.
Maybe.
But yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
I remember feeling like I knew it was a problem when like you would just make comments that today would never even, I wouldn't think twice about it. And like if you were talking about, oh, my pants don't fit me anymore, I'm like, oh, period, like good for you. Like I wouldn't think about it today knowing myself, but back then I took it as a slight somehow. Like I felt so insecure that the comments you would make, I'd feel like you were saying them to hurt my feelings in a way. And I know you aren't, but I felt that way. Like, you were like, oh, I don't like that, or I don't eat that anymore. Like, you'd say things that I was doing, and I'd be like, she's saying that to make me feel bad. Like, that's how insecure I was. And, like, so this underlying current of, like, resentment was, like, occurring, and then KK moved in. And then it became, like,
oh my God,
this like triangle of things. Like, we were at the core, we all loved each other, and we all went out, and we genuinely we did have a lot of fun. Yeah. But then there would be moments where it's like, oh, those two would go out to the bar, and then I wouldn't go because one, I probably didn't have money, or I was working because I had to work like 12 jobs. Like, it was like things like that, and I'd feel like, oh, they're talking about me when they're not. And then she'd feel like we were talking about her and we weren't. And so it was like this weird dynamic. Like a threesome, a bad threesome.
It was a massive love triangle.
Yes.
I think like we had all these like negative thoughts that we were like assuming, and I think we had brought it up a couple of times of like projecting of like, oh well, I feel this way or whatever. Like, because I remember like even you would go into KK's room and the door would shut, and I'm like, ew. I remember I was sitting there, I was so freaking pissed, and I was like, they're for sure talking crap about me. And KK's room is right next to me, so I'm like,
we weren't.
Yeah. And I'm like trying to sit there, like listen to the door. I remember like texting like Samantha and like Ian. I'm like, I don't want to live here anymore. Like, these girls are really like these girls are out to get me. And like, and then it was like, then we were together, and I'm like, oh, okay, all of the problems went away. Like, it was very like, I wouldn't say, I'm very grateful for our friendship, and I'm very grateful for us three. Yeah. But I think it was so obvious that we were struggling, like truly internally, with the way that we communicated and the way that we were, like Luda and I were both facing insecurities, that it just kind of like projected into this friendship that shouldn't have. And honestly, like, sorry, KK, like I think I put her in the middle of all of it. I was like, is Luda making you go crazy? Like, I remember I would like sit there and ask KK, and I'm like, is Luda mad at me? Like, what's going on? I was like, and I was like, I don't know. Like, I had all these like negative thoughts, and I was like, she's like, Luda would compliment me and like would call me pretty and stuff, and I'm like, she's doing it to piss me off. I remember that because I was so insecure with myself. There's a lot of things that I'm still dealing with, but like, I just remember like I took it as a jab. Yeah. And like when Luda would always compliment me whenever we would go out, and I was like, this is a jab. Like, she's telling me that I look pretty and I don't look pretty, or I don't feel pretty, and you're telling me that I look good, and I'm like, oh, you're just doing that because you like are trying to make me feel like shit. That was immediately my thoughts.
And that's sad. And because I know you know now that was not what I was doing. Because I genuinely thought all of that, and I still think all of that. And like, but I know what you mean. And it's like the same thing. Like, I remember, but I have to own some of that in myself. Like the comment you just said about like, is Luda mad at me? Is she driving you crazy? Like, I was really not myself. Like, when you're depressed and you are burnt out, like, your battery is just so low. And I remember coming home from work, and I'd just be like done, and I just want to go to my room, and I'd say like hi, but I'd want to go to my room. I'm not how you see me and you know me today. It's because I'm healed, and I've done the work. But at that moment in time, I was not okay. I was not myself. So I would just go to my room. I wouldn't have the energy or capacity to talk to them, or like whatever the situation was. Like, I just felt like I didn't have any social energy for anyone else. So I would go straight to my room, and they would take it as I'm mad at them. Oh, yeah. Which, in retrospect, yes, I totally understand. And after we had a conversation, I would tell them, like, this is nothing against you guys. I'm just really tired. I have to go to my room. Like, I would tell them that. But they just, I think because they knew me as who I was before, it was such a stark difference, and they didn't know how to deal with it, and I sure as hell didn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah, no, I just remember, and I was like, I don't really want to go out with Luda if she's going to be pissed off, or like if she's going to be angry. And like, in my head, I was like, I felt like I had to walk around eggshells because I think I didn't know how to deal with what you were dealing with. And like, I was dealing with a lot of shit on my own. And so I think like I took a lot of your insecurities and projected them, like, and then they turned into my insecurities, and then I projected them onto you. And so I think like that's when we kind of like started to shift slightly of like, okay, maybe this isn't working out, you know, like we were doing different things. And I just remember like, I would talk to Samantha about that too, and I was like, I just feel like me and Luda are always competing with each other. Like, I remember I said that, I was like, it's about size, it's about what we eat, like it's about what workout we did. Like, I remember Luda would come home from Orange Theory, and I was so jealous. I was like, she's dripping in sweat. I was like, I need to go work out. And I compared that every single time. I was like, every time she works out, I felt like I had to work out. And then it just got into like a really habit. Like we were really short with each other, and you would like ask me how my workouts were, but I always felt like they weren't genuine because I think like we were so caught up in our own world, and I would ask you like, oh, how's Orange Theory? But like I knew that like I don't care. Like this girl is just trying to, in my head, brag about her working out.
And I wasn't, but I know that's how it felt.
Exactly.
And back to the part about going out, like I remember that, let's get real about this. Like you were in like losing weight, and you were feeling so like, from the outside, looked like you were so confident in yourself, and we're going to places like Old Crow, which is this like country bar. And like now, again, like I wish I could just go back to the younger version of me and be like, babe, you're good, like, and have the confidence I have now. But that was those type of guys, they weren't checking for me. Like they were all the blonde hair, blue eyes girls or the white girls that they were going for at this place called Old Crow. And even if there was any little sprinkle of diversity there, they were going for the white girls too, right? So I already felt like I was not, it just was an insecurity. Now I don't care if those boys are looking at me. I don't want you to look at me. But like at the time, you know what I mean? You're going out and like I feel like I'm just standing out. I'm just this ogre. That's what I felt like. And like they always wanted to fucking go there. And I'm like, oh my God. So like, every time we would go out, I'd be like, oh my God, not Old Crow. But Deuces, I liked Deuces.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah. But do you see, like, that's how I felt. Like I also was like, I don't like this place. Like this place, I feel weird at this establishment. I wouldn't feel that now. But at the time, it just felt like I just felt like it, I don't know how to explain it. But I just felt even more stand-outish there. And it was just, it was piling onto my insecurities, and I felt like, it just made it more uncomfortable. And you and KK loved going there, and I was, it was just not my thing. So it felt like when I would go, I did feel like a bummer. Like I did. I was just not my normal self. But so then we started getting to the end of our lease, and like we kind of mended things. We were like fine. We were fine. Yeah. We had talked about a lot of stuff, but there was how we've talked about all of this on the table now, that didn't happen.
It's very surface level. I think we kind of like talked about like how we were feeling, but I think
we had a big blow up.
Yeah, Ian's birthday weekend.
Oh yeah. So we had all the guys up.
Yeah.
And we were taking this scooter. We were going to take a scooter home, and I didn't want to. I was like, didn't want to take a scooter or something.
I think so.
Or you're like, fine, I'll take the bike and you can take this. Or something was said, and I was just like, I don't remember I really don't even remember what the fight was. But basically, I thought she said something snippy, and she thought I said something snippy. And then KK, God bless her, but she's never going to mediate. She's going to shut the fuck up and like let us duke it out. Yeah. So then, like, we were just had this weird tension, and then we get to the house, and we get to the house, and
I remember what happened.
Okay, you say it then.
I was pissed. I don't know what it was, and I don't know how it even blew up to the way it did. And I remember, like, we took different cars. I think we had different Ubers. Like, you were not...
No, we were in the same Uber, but we were quiet.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, that's what it was. And then the guys were on our patio.
Mm-hmm.
They were, like, smoking or whatever, drinking, doing whatever. Yeah.
Shit.
And I remember, like, you were, like, had such a sour face, and I was like, I can't do this. I was like, I'm so fucking angry. So I run into KK's room. Mm-hmm. I'm venting to KK. I'm like, Luda's being such a bitch. Like, I don't know what's happening. Like, why is she like this? And KK's like, like, just trying to, like, be loud and, like, distract, whatever, like, let me vent to her. And then you walked through the door.
Because I'm like, if you're going to talk shit about me, at least I'm right here.
And my jaw dropped. And I was like,
here we go.
I gotta sit now. Like, it's too late. And I was livid by this time. And I think, like, I was like, no take-backs. And so we laid it out on the table. And you said to me that I was so mean, and that, like, you didn't want to be around me because, like, I'm just, like, a mean person. And I just remember that, and I think it stuck with me actually a lot, because I was like, whoa, like, am I actually this, like, mean person that I didn't know? Mm-hmm. You know, like, I had a lot of issues, and it kind of hurt when you said that, but then I think I blacked out. And what did I say to you?
So I think you were saying, it first started by you saying, like, we have to always walk on eggshells around you. And that hurt my feelings, but you're right. You did. And I had to hear that. It didn't feel good to hear in the moment, and it didn't feel good that my friends were thinking that about me and not telling me, but I needed to hear that. And helped me change. Like, honestly, I think that's what, like, snapped me out of that and allowed me to, like, see myself. But, like, I heard that and I was like, I understood that one. And then you said something that really hurt me, and it was like, you're always complaining that you don't have money or something like that. And that's when I lost my shit, because I was like, I'm working 3 jobs just to try to even kind of keep up with you guys. And I felt like, for me, and I knew you didn't mean that. I knew you knew how hard I worked. I knew all the things, but I was like, I am cheap because I have to be. And I remember that's when I lost my shit, because I was like, that struck my core. And then that's when I snapped back and I was like, you're so mean. I remember I said that. And then we just started screaming at each other, and then it died down, and then we apologized. And then we cried. We cried, and then we hugged, and then we went out and played beer pong. And it was fine after that. Like, it felt like that tension had to just come out, and had to scream, and like I had to hear what you had to say, and I had to say what I had on my chest. And even though we were able to mend it in that moment, like, there was still awkwardness. I'm sure, like, it still sat with us. Like, the comments stuck with you, the comments stuck with me. Mm-hmm. And I had to really evaluate how I was treating my friends, because at the end of the day, no matter what I was going through, it was not fair for me to put that energy on you guys. Like, I should have, if I was feeling that, I should have opened up and told you guys. But I didn't know. I literally didn't know, and you don't know what you don't know. And that was, like, a huge lesson, and it doesn't end there. So then we mend that up. Yep. The lease comes to an end. Ian's moving to Chicago, so we already knew you were moving out.
Well, then we renewed our lease because we stayed there for 2 years, right?
Yeah, was it the last year?
That was the first year.
Oh.
But then, we decided that Ian graduated college and that he was going to move. And I remember, like, it was during St. Patty's Day, or like in the month of March, when we had decided that we were going to go separate ways. Mm-hmm. And that was I think that was hard. And then I think that was also the time that we found out that KK was pregnant. Yeah. Can we share that?
So, okay. Yeah. That means she has a kid now. I think they got the cat out of it.
But that's when we kind of found out that KK was pregnant. And then I think we all kind of, like, knew there was going to be a time that us 3 were going to separate.
Yeah. And I was the first to move out.
Yep.
Because I got my own place in Uptown. That doesn't really matter. And then KK and Sil were there, and whatever. And then, did we talk about that?
When there was, like, a fallout.
Yeah, there was a fallout where KK and Sil weren't really talking.
Yeah, me and KK, once it got to the end of our lease, we weren't really talking, I think, because KK at the time was dating somebody, and
we got COVID. We got COVID, and we were upset that KK wasn't checking on us.
Yeah, oh my gosh, we were like, she's the worst fucking friend. She's not even coming over. Like, we were not thinking and being nice to her. Like, we were like, we should have known that, as
we were valid. Yeah. But how we approached it wasn't valid. And that was before the pregnancy, though.
Yeah. Oh, was it?
Yeah, that was before the pregnancy. So that, like, started the lingering things of what caused you guys to have your fallout.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Because we got COVID during Thanksgiving, because we didn't get to go home.
But you made us a dinner, and we just couldn't eat it.
No, you couldn't eat it. And again, in my head, mental, I was so upset that she wasn't eating. Like, I was like, why is she not eating? Like, am I fat? Like, I was like starving. It was like, I literally can't eat still. Mind you, I was the one that gave her COVID.
And the symptoms were so different. So different. Like, I was on my deathbed, and Sil was like, I just can't smell.
I was like, I can't taste or smell.
And I'm like, are you?
And she was like, you were like throwing up and like so ill. Oh my gosh. I felt so bad because Luda literally came with me in the Uber. I had no insurance because I got laid off. Mm-hmm. And I was like freaking out. I was like, I'm going to die because I know for sure I have COVID. This is a COVID symptom, and I don't have insurance. So I remember like calling all these places, and there was thankfully a clinic in Chicago that would take people in that didn't have insurance, and it was for free. Mm-hmm. Luda came with me, and I started being so thankful. But then the day when we got home, that's when you got sick, and you're like, still not feeling good. I was like, fuck, I gave her COVID.
I never lost my sight or my smell and taste though. I just had all the other symptoms.
And I was over here like, I can't. Luda, I remember our neighbor was making like pot roast or like something. You were like, it smells so good. I was like, I can't smell it. And then remember we ran to the fridge to try mustard. Yeah. You were like, you have to try this. Like, can you taste it? And I was like, no. And I was like, this is the worst thing ever. And so we spent our holiday at home together, and we kind of bonded that way. And then that's when I fought with KK. I was kind of like upset with KK because she didn't check in with us and she was not around when we were dying.
And because she thought we didn't want her to come over.
Yes.
Because we didn't want her to get sick. It was just a bunch of misunderstandings.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter now. But ultimately, that would like start the tension. And then at the end of the lease, those two had tension because I think KK had found out she was pregnant, low energy, totally understandable. But again, we've never been through that. So we're not understanding it. And she had been canceling on things, totally understandable. But you were taking offense to that because she was not, like, prioritizing our friendship.
Oh, yeah, I was not being respectful at all. Like, I think looking back at how I handled things, I think I was grieving losing my drinking buddy.
Yeah.
She was someone that I went out every weekend. But then we had a mutual friend that actually moved to Chicago during that time. And I wanted to, like, make sure that she was included in her friend group and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I just remember that KK was no longer my drinking buddy, so I handled it very poorly. Like, I would get mad at her, and I was like, you never want to drink anymore, or, like, you never want to hang out, like, you're always with your baby daddy, and, like, just not thinking that, like, she was tired, and she was ill, and she was literally growing a human being inside her belly. And I just remember, like, whatever, fuck it. Like, I'm, like, thank God our lease is up. Mm-hmm. Like, I was out of there, and then I think I moved into my new apartment. I was with Ian. You were already gone, and then KK was last to move, and KK didn't move until I think like at the end of the month, like when the lease was out.
Very end.
And you had already packed your stuff, and I was like, you don't have to worry about cleaning anything. Like, I got it. Mm-hmm. And then I packed all of my stuff, and I just remember, like, I threw all of my stuff away. Like, I threw the curtains, like, the table, like, everything. Mm-hmm. And I remember me and KK talked about it, but KK was so mad at me because I threw everything away and I didn't ask. And in my head, I was so mad at KK. I was like, fuck this. Like, she doesn't need any of my stuff. Like, she can figure it out herself. Like, I was a very mean and ugly. The way that I handled it was very ugly. Like, I would never do that in a million years now. But I was so grieving through of losing someone that was my best friend due to being pregnant. And I was being selfish, honestly. I really was. And I threw away all the stuff. And I was like, I already have new stuff. Like, KK can go fiend for herself. Mm-hmm. And I think me and KK we stopped being friends before you and I stopped being friends. Mm-hmm. Yep. You were like trying to be in the middle and like make things work, and you were with KK, and I was like, I don't want to be with KK.
Yeah, that was tough because like from my perspective, it was just so hard. Like, I know we all had our own situations all happening, and that's just part of friendship. But I remember it was hard because I knew, like, these were my sisters. Like, I hated to see that you guys weren't talking, especially during, like, such a huge part of KK's life. I'm like, that's not, like, Sil. That just isn't like you.
No.
Like, knowing you were just such a loyal friend. Like, you really ride for your friends. So I'm like, this is not like you. Like, I hope you guys mend it. But I didn't want to push it too far on either side. Yeah. And then I heard basically what happened with us. It came to a point where, like, I heard it got back to me that you had been saying some pretty mean things about me behind my back, and that just like really crushed me because it was about my like things that I was insecure about. So when it was a person that was like your best friend, and then you've opened up to them about those insecurities, and then to hear that you were saying things about me, it just like was like actually a stab in the heart. Like, I remember I told you now, I'm like, that was worse than any breakup I've ever been through.
Oh, yeah.
It was, like, hands down, I would take getting cheated on again. Like, I'm so serious because...
Oh, my gosh.
It was just, like, you expect it from a stinky boy, but you don't make boys cry. You expect it from a stinky boy, but, like, your best girlfriend, like... It just hurt me so bad that when it got to me, I was like, I was so hurt, I didn't even know what to say to you. I remember you texted me about one of my exes, and I just, like, didn't respond to you or something. And
I remember it so vividly.
Yeah, what's your side of it?
So, I think, the fallout with KK happened, and I got close with a mutual friend, and I remember, like, that was kind of, like, my scapegoat. Like, I was like, this is someone that's, like, completely new. Has no ties with KK or Luda, you know, and I think... when I remember I was in Minnesota it was in July during the 4th, like that, and I was coming back from Minnesota, and I remember like laughing. I was like, I'm gonna send Luda this funny text message of like pictures of her ex, and I was like showing something or whatever, and I was like, wait, I sent this at like 11. I still haven't heard back from Luda, and I remember I checked Luda's location because we were Find My Friends. And you were at the mutual friend's house because I had the mutual friend's location too. And then I got a long text message, and immediately I knew something was wrong actually before, because Ludo usually replies to me right away. Mm-hmm. And then I got your text message, and then at the end, like before I could read it, because I like always skim my long text messages at first, and then I saw that Ludo had stopped sharing her location with me. Mm-hmm. And then I had my Apple Watch, and you stopped sharing your activities with me too. And I just remember, yeah, I still remember that. Like literally so clear. I was like, I can't see Ludo's like fitness anymore. But my stomach sank to my butt.
Yeah.
I was like, what is happening here? I remember like it was a 6-hour drive from Minnesota to Chicago. And I was...
Ooh, what a terrible car ride.
Awful. I called Samantha. Actually, what I did was I was not a healed person yet, obviously. I was very ugly in the way that I handled a lot of my feelings. And the first person I could think of, because Ludo was like, oh, you're saying all these things. And I was like, I didn't vent to anybody but one person. And at first I was like, is it KK? Like, I was like, I don't think I ever said anything like that to KK. And then I was like, is it the mutual friend? First thing that I do, called that mutual friend. No answer. I immediately actually went straight to voicemail. I was like, oh, they're together. Like, they're talking about it right now. And then the mutual friend, I remember, texted me back, and she was like, hey, like, did you need something? Tried to play it cool. I think she obviously knew, but I was like, yeah, Ludo just said, I played it cool, and I was like, oh, I just had a question about ClassPass. Then I didn't talk to her about it. And in my gut, I felt like it was maybe KK, so I didn't know who it was going to be. And I remember I called Samantha immediately, bawling my eyes out. And Samantha's like, what? Like, just give it time. She's like, you guys are good. Like, you guys are best friends. Like, you'll figure it out. And I was like, I had a feeling this is different. Mm-hmm. And I think immediately, like, I didn't text back because you had blocked me right away. So you didn't even give me the opportunity to say anything.
Nope.
You were like, I remember the message, you're like, I just need my space. Like, I'm going to block you. You had removed me off of like social media. Like, I was devastated. Like, I think like what made it harder was I didn't have any answers. Yeah. Like, I was kind of just like left out in the dark to kind of like mend these pieces together, which I think was really bad for mental health because I started to spiral. And I think initially when we had first stopped being friends, I wanted to clear my name. I remember I was like, I didn't fucking say that. Like, there's no way I said that, blah, blah, blah. And I remember I called another good friend of mine, and she was like, are you only like saying these things because you got caught? And it hit me to my core. And I was like, yeah, I think so. I was going through all the grieving process. I was angry. And I think all I wanted to do was message Luda and talk to her that I didn't do it. And I didn't say it. And kind of time passes by. I think it was a couple months of us not talking. Mm-hmm. And I think like maybe you had unblocked me or something. And I remember I sent you a long text message, and I came to my senses, and you know, I was miserable, but I think I was still trying to clear my name. And I was like, I just need to talk to you. Mm-hmm. I was like, I feel like you don't know the whole story. Like, I don't know if there was lies being told while you were getting told this, like whatever. And you were like, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you. Like, I think like you were like, I still can't be friends with you. And I was like, oh, like,
we talked, but yeah, it was still
like, it was like, like you weren't healed and I wasn't healed at all. Mm-hmm. And then I think I realized for sure that like our friendship was over. And I remember like I wouldn't eat, and I was so devastated. Like, I'd never been through a breakup, and I think that like it hurt like a breakup. You are right. And like, I remember like I couldn't think, I couldn't sleep. Like, I was so anxious. Like, I was like, I kept like blaming myself, and I was so anxious that I called KK. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I need somebody in my life. Like, I just lost 2 best friends, and I ended it with KK because I was being so immature, and I lost Luda. Like, I don't know what to do here. And so I called KK, and I was like, can we talk? And me and KK were talking, and you know, me and her kind of mended things after this conversation. Mm-hmm. I was like, did you say things? And she's like, no, I didn't. She's like, and KK actually came clean, and she was like, we actually had lunch with this mutual friend, and she was the one telling Luda these things. And I have never felt so backstabbed before. And I was like, I just remember sitting there after me and KK talked, and me and KK like said our apologies, and we're like, you know, let's just move on, and like we healed. And I was like, yeah, but part of me, just something in my gut just still doesn't feel right. Like, I didn't have you, and like that was really hard. Mm-hmm. And I just remember like I'm like so ill to my stomach. And so I went to therapy. Went to therapy for restrictive eating. I got diagnosed with an eating disorder, which I was not eating when I had lost my friendship with Luda, and I think a lot of that surfaced up when I started losing weight when I first moved to Chicago. So a lot of these insecurities I was dealing with had been surfaced up, really, and I had nowhere to run. And then I went to therapy because I had no friends, and I lost like 2 of my best friends. And that was really hard. And it was what, like 4 years, 3 years? How long was it of us not talking and like being friends?
I think we didn't talk for a year, but then we, like, towards the end of that year, like, we did try to have that conversation, and like I was open to hearing what you had to say, but I had already been so hurt I wasn't open to the friendship anymore.
Yes.
Like, I really was at a point where I was like, I don't want us to be on bad terms, but just know, like, I can't trust you. Like, that's how I felt. And because, again, just to reiterate, like, I did not handle that well at all either. I wouldn't handle it the way that I would today. But because I felt so backstabbed in that moment, by somebody was like literally like this, I just didn't know what else to do but run away and like cut it off. And like the things that I found out, again, were things that like I had already thought you were saying about me. Like, in my head, our whole friendship, like those insecurities when we first moved to Chicago, it was like, oh, Sil thinks I'm fat. Sil makes comments about things that make, like, and it was my own insecurities. But then when I heard that, it made me think that all the other insecurities I thought we were saying were true now. So, and not to say that I don't think all of those things were true, but that, to me, obviously, and I was like, oh my God, I was right. Like, I knew that those feelings were there, and then I just felt so sick, so I didn't know what to do but run. And blocking you and not giving you a chance to say your side of the story is not cool. I think in some scenarios, if people are like being abused or things like that, like, yes, no contact is perfectly acceptable, but I don't think in our scenario that was appropriate, and I don't think it was fair to you, regardless that you said it or not, because, and to her defense, she did own up to it. She owned up to it, and she said sorry, and she didn't give any excuses for it. Like, when I did confront her and I told her, she completely was like, I'm in the wrong. I said that. I 100% regret it. I was coming from a place of my own insecurities. Like, I'm getting chills because, like, I'm getting chills because not everyone, one, takes accountability, but she knew how she hurt me, and she didn't once try to, like, run from it.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because we did lose a lot in each other's lives. Like, we missed out on a lot of each other. Thank God we're back in each other's lives. Oh my God. Yeah, to her defense, she completely owned up to her shit. Completely, like 100%. And I want to say that because even though it was hurtful, she didn't try to not take accountability for that. And that, like, meant a lot, and I think that's why we were able to, like, stay in each other's lives to what I could handle and what you could handle. So, like, we would say, like, happy birthday, or like if like things like big moments came up, we would reach out. And I remember one time towards the end of me living on my own in my apartment in Uptown, I remember I just sent you a text. I was like, I know we're not close anymore, but I'm so grateful for you, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be in Chicago and I wouldn't have grown the way that I did. And it's true, like, even though it was, some of it was a lot of hurt, there was so much fun too, and there was so much growth, and because of us, like, and because of it, we were able to be the people that we are today, and thank God that we were able to come back together. And I think just, like, time had to heal. Like, that's the only thing that was gonna allow that. And I feel like for me, I feel so, like, it sucks that I had to be on the sidelines watching things like you get engaged and, like, you going on your bachelorette party and, like, your wedding party. Like, I'm so grateful for how I could be a part of those moments. Like, I'm so happy I could be at the wedding and I could, like, see you and Ian, like, take those steps. But it's like, it was hard to not be included, and I didn't expect to be, but it was hard to not have those moments with you and share those moments in those ways as close as we used to be. So I know that was really hard for me, and I know you've talked about it too, but I am grateful that, like, we were able to come back together. I think we all moved back to Minnesota at different times, and then we got dinner, and I think we just, like, really squashed it, and we're like, okay, enough time has passed, like, let's put the past to the past and be better people to each other. And I think from there we've been on a good path.
Yeah, no, I think we both grew a lot, and, like, as much as I hate to say that, like, how we both handled things. I think we needed that. I think it was bound to happen sooner or later, and I think everything kind of just like that was kind of like what broke the camel's back. I think. And like I as hard as it was for me to lose Luda and KK during this time, I think I'm very grateful for that period because it allowed me to go to therapy and like really fix a lot of issues that I had. And I wouldn't have gone through any of that if I was still friends with Luda and KK. I think that I wouldn't have been able to fix it myself, my anger management, the way that I handled things, like how angry I was. I just projected. I was a very insecure person, and it showed it. Like I think after I'd lost my friendship with Luda and KK, I was very, very insecure, and I think it was very clear because I projected a lot of that. Like I projected all these insecurities, and I was so insecure that I felt like in order to make myself feel better, I had to put someone else down, and I wanted anybody and everybody to side with me. And not being friends with you was devastating. Like I remember like we had talked about if Ian and I got engaged, and like I just remember like when Ian and I got engaged, like I was very, very, very happy, but then I remember like I was trying to think of like who was going to be up there, and I was like things would be so different if I had KK and Luda there. Like you guys were like my rock in college. Like I never would have imagined life without you, and you know people would always text me and ask me like, how are you guys? Like, are you and Luda and KK still friends or like whatever? And I think time has healed. We both have healed as individuals, but I get very sad still till this day of like how things were handled because I really, really, really wanted you there at like my core moments. I feel like you and KK had been there every step of every milestone that me and Ian had. Like when Ian moved to Chicago, when we moved to Chicago, and when we got our first apartment. You guys were there for Simba and stuff. And I think when I lost you, I also lost your siblings too. You know, I was close with your siblings, and I wasn't like best friends with them, but like they would always like my pictures, and you know I would be comfortable messaging them, and your mom. I think I remember like I was like, it's not just Luda that I lost like a whole army of people, and I felt like I was like, where did it go? Like how did it happen? I felt like a blink of an eye, and I think I was so angry still, like just 10 years of friendship that we had built gone in like a day because someone else had shared something with her. And I was like, and yeah, you were right. Like, you know, you were like, you didn't really hear my story. And I don't regret it at all. I'm glad that you didn't want to hear it, because at that time, if you were like, I want to hear everything you said, I don't think I would have handled it properly. And so when we kind of like mended our friendship and we kind of went back and we cleared the air with everything, you kind of like opened your eyes, and I opened my eyes, and I was like, well, I didn't know that you felt that way. You didn't know that I was feeling this way. And I think now that where we are, I think we kind of have found this peace in each other. And like, of course I'm sad that you missed a lot of these big parts of my life, but there's still so much to our life that makes me excited. And like, it is not common that you see a lot of friends that break up for long years. Usually you see a friend break up for like a month and they're back together. Right. But like, it's not common to see friends that you haven't been friends with for many years to come back together. And I feel like when me and KK went to Crave at Mall of America, like that's when we kind of like got back and we're like, let's get the crew back together. Let's just talk. And we cried. You guys saw my ring. Yeah, that's.
I remember that. And you guys like, I want to see your ring.
And then we cried all together because we were talking about, you know, you and KK were like, we're not in your, you know, like I think you guys had already known that you weren't going to be in my my wedding and stuff.
Had accepted that. I think we didn't know at that time, like meeting up, how close again we would get. We really didn't. It was just like out of respect to like we all have for each other. We all love each other regardless. Like we don't want to be on bad terms. Like let's catch up. And because you had just moved back to Minnesota, and that was really all the expectations were. And I was like, at least let's do dinners, you know, like let's stay in contact. I didn't know if we would get as close as we were. And I knew I would be a part of the whole situation, but I was so grateful that we could be a part, like be at the wedding and see it. Like honestly, looking back now, like in the moment I was like, yeah, it would be cool to be in it, but I knew that's not how close we were. We weren't at that point. But it was so nice to be there. I remember just crying because you guys were just so precious, and like seeing you guys come down the stairs, I was just so happy for you guys, and I was just so happy to be there and at the wedding. And then, but now like as we're close again, like getting closer, I'm like, damn, we did miss out on some things, but everything happens for a reason. It really does. And like that doesn't change anything just because I wasn't there or wasn't in the wedding. That's how it was supposed to be at the end of the day. That's how it went. Yep. And we can't change it. And like I've accepted that. I know KK accepts that. Like we're just happy that now we are open. I would consider us stronger than ever because we're being very honest. Like we can be vulnerable, and like I've grown on my independently. Like I also had very unhealthy attachments to my friendships because like I would pour everything into my friendships. That's just kind of how I am, like just with my siblings or like my relationships. Like I just take them very seriously. So I think having that break and like seeing that, I had to get independent and reevaluate like how much I'm pouring into things like that, and it taught me to be more independent as well. And I feel like that allows me to be in our friendship in a lot healthier way now currently. I
think so too. I think after we kind of mended things, and you know, we even hang out, like we text each other, and like I feel like we're kind of like on the right path to kind of get to where we want to go. And like I think for anybody also dealing with a friend breakup, like some people might bounce back immediately, and for ours it was different, and I am grateful for it. I think it gave us the accountability to stay true to ourselves and to heal, but like now we get to grow and like be another version of ourselves that we have always wanted to be. And I think we're here and we're present to take accountability and to be present with our friendship. And I mean, I just am very grateful. Like I like when you called me and you like needed advice, and I was like, I miss this. Like I miss like talking, and I miss like I want to be back to where we were. And I know we're working towards it.
And it was something that like trust has to be built. It's not built overnight. Like it had to be like gradual. And I think that's like since that dinner from now, like we've been slowly like doing different things to like build that trust. And like I think that's on both ends. And it's getting there. Like, and when I say we're stronger, and I mean like we can be honest with each other. Like if she does something that is going to offend me or says something that hurts my feelings, I know now that I now have the skills and the tools to be like, still, I don't like how this was said, or blah blah blah, can we talk about this? Like I now trust that we can have those conversations, and I know that it's important to do that in all relationships, not just with Sil. Like I've learned that for everything, and like boundaries are so important. I never had those skills before, so I feel like we are these more evolved versions of ourselves, so we're able to be better friends to each other.
I agree.
And it was unfortunate some of the things that we had to go through, but one, like that's just fucking life. Like people are going to get tested, relationships are tested, romantic, friendship, family, like you're gonna go through things. There's ebbs and flows and everything, but I do think it's like a testament to our friendship that was important enough to come back. Because I've lost friends that I don't care to
100%
work on anymore. Like I don't care that we went separate ways, respectfully. But like Sil is a very important person to me, and like I'm very happy to have her back in my life, and that we were able to overcome what we did.
I am very grateful. Like we've been through a lot, and I think even missing that like 3-4 years of, you know, not being as close, I think I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like I'm just like, I always get so like I don't know. I still am sad about the missing years, but we have come so far. And like I told Luda the other day, like we were with each other last week, and this is when she like asked me to come on and talk about this. And I told her, I was like, I feel left out that you and KK are together. I was sad because I was like, again, like I think it's so hard to like move on because we had something so strong, and like that is something that like I will bring to my grave. Like my friendship with Luda and KK, and like with you just individually, like we had bonded over trauma. We were so similar. We had a lot of like body image issues, a lot of insecurities that we were both facing, and I'd never found somebody that had so many similarities with me. And I think when I lost you, I still feel like a part of my heart kind of like went out that window. And where we are now, I'm extremely grateful for.
Me too.
Like, I think that a lot of people can't overcome that. And I think we can really come to the table now and be like, this is how I'm feeling. And like, this is where, you know, what I really want to talk about. Mm-hmm. And a lot of friends can't do that. And I think because we are who we are and our friendship is so strong that it just shows that like, doesn't matter if anybody tries to rip us apart, like we're going to come back.
Oh, 100%.
And we will fight for it. It shows. I think we really like fucking climbed through the mountain to get to each other again.
It was hard.
We both put in work though, that's the thing. I think
we did.
People need to talk
separately.
About that. Yeah.
Yes. You can't just expect one person to do it.
Yeah.
Like, still taking accountability, I also had to take accountability. Like, it went both ways.
People look back at us, and I think at first, honestly, I was a little bit, like, I was kind of, like, not ashamed, but I was almost, like, embarrassed to tell people that I was friends with Luda again. Because of all of the shame that I had, I was like, are people going to look at us differently? Are they going to think that, like, we were being dramatic?
And so what?
Right. Well, like, and now I'm like, I don't care, because, again, like, I wanted our friendship to work so bad that I was climbing. Like, I was like, I will do whatever it fucking takes. I don't care if it means being true to myself or like putting everything out on the table. Like, we would not be here right now if it wasn't for us taking accountability and like leaning on each other like through our darkest times. Like, I think we both were kind of dealing with a lot of trauma during the years that we weren't friends. And then I think that like us coming back together and like fighting, and I could feel in Luda's heart that she really wanted to be back in my life, and I hope that you kind of felt the way like I really wanted to be back in your life. I knew
you were sorry. I couldn't forgive you yet. Like, I wasn't healed enough to accept that yet. Yeah.
And that's where it leads us to today. I wouldn't take, actually, as sad and as awful as I was back then, and like all of my grieving process, like, honestly, like, the best thing that someone said was like, it's even worse when you lose somebody when you're grieving them when they're alive.
Oh yeah.
Like, awful.
Because you can, especially with social media.
Oh my gosh, I had to block everybody.
I had to meme your ass.
I blocked everybody. It took me years to follow Luda back, and like, I just was like, I can't do it. Like, I'm gonna feel left out.
It's triggering.
Like, it's very triggering.
It's super triggering.
I think like when I would take 2 steps back in our friendship, I would see her story, and it brought me all the way back. I'm like, I can't do this. And I think as much as it hurt me to lose you, I wouldn't take it back for anything. I think
we needed that.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Unfortunately, like, we don't say that lightly. Like, we both wish we didn't have to go through that, but we did. We did. Our friendship did, and I'm glad we have overcome it. And like, I just want to end on like a positive note. Obviously, like, we are here, so it is a positive note. Yeah. But like, things that keep us together, like we talked about the trauma bond, but I want to say like just you as a person. So like, you are so loyal, like, to your core. Like, even when we were like building trust again after we came back together, like, I knew if I ever needed anything, even while we weren't talking, I knew if I called you, you would have showed up for me. Like, that's how you are. Like, but I knew like when my dad was going through cancer and like stuff, you checked on me, or like you would like, it didn't matter. I knew you were always there for me. And like, that is something like you just don't have that with everyone. People aren't like that, unfortunately. Like, I'm very lucky to have KK, but like, there's friends out there that just don't check on you. They don't really care. They're not genuinely invested in your life, and you were, and you are. And that always stood out to me. Like, you care, you genuinely want the best for me. And like, that is something that I'm so grateful to have back in my life. I love you. This was tough. I cried. I did not think I was gonna cry, but anyways, we were gonna definitely come back on, because we already, when the camera died, we were talking about different topics that we want to come back on with, and I just want to, like, I guess, kind of end on maybe advice for anyone going through it. Like, do you have any advice for someone who's listening to this, who's going through like a friend breakup or going through similar things that we went through? What would you tell them? I'm putting you on the spot. I did not tell her.
No. Take your time. I think in the heat of moment, we want to try to resolve things right away.
Yeah.
And like for someone like me, I was so fixated of like, I love confrontation. Like I want to figure it all out, but I didn't have it all figured out. And so I think taking my time and like not rushing anything, like if someone is telling you their feelings, you know, take it all in and like hear them out. I think sometimes we get carried away, and like when somebody tells us how we feel, we want to do more of this instead of more of ears. And I think it's really important that we can hear each other out and like really just let that sink in. And like, you know, instead of it, we're selfish, and I think that's just who we are as humans. We automatically want to insert ourselves into this conversation. And I think taking a pause back and, you know, really asking yourself, like, how could I be there for my friend? Mm-hmm. You know, what are they going through and why are they feeling this way? Like kind of like sitting down and really asking the right questions to really pull that friend out of this funk. Because communication is key. And I think taking my point of like why I say taking our time is like we move too fast. And I think life doesn't stop. And I think if we take a moment to just breathe and like understand truly where we're sitting with ourselves at the moment, where our friends are sitting at the moment, I think it can really solve a lot of our problems.
I 100% agree. I agree with everything you said. I think time for sure. Time is the only thing that really does heal.
Yeah.
Like in communication, if everyone's taking accountability for their part. But if like someone is coming to you with something that is like bothering them, like listen to them, like Sil said, like actually hear what they're saying and try not to get defensive. I know it's very hard because that's just naturally how humans are built.
Yeah.
But listen to, if they have the courage to tell you, listen to them. And even if you may not fully agree, try to understand, take accountability for what you can, and then communicate how you can move forward from there. And I will say, like, we are really lucky. Not everyone comes back together, and not everyone's supposed to come back together. Like, some people are in your life for a season, some people in your life for a reason, and, like, some people are lifelong friends, and, like, sometimes it ebbs and flows. So, like, just give it time, take accountability, communicate, and, like, know that if it's right, it will come back. Because there's, like, when we first stopped being friends, I didn't know we'd be back here.
No.
And I'm sure you didn't either.
No. Yeah. And I think trust is really big. Yeah. I think when we got back together, I never lost sight of our friendship. Like, I think when we kind of came back, it almost like naturally was back to what it was. Like our energy, our vibes, like we just meshed really well together. Yeah. But a lot of it is like trust. Like, I think when we were rocky at that point of mending our friendship, I had to really ask myself, like, can I trust Luda with saying things? Like, is she gonna go back and, like, you know, tell anybody else? Like, you know, you're so vulnerable to someone that you just lost friends with. Like, it's giving your trust. And I think you have to give it time and trust to it to just build. Like, it will get to where it needs to be. And if it's not meant to be, then it's not meant to be. Because, like, I mean, even when we talked and we kind of mended things, like, we weren't like this right away.
No. Like, it could have just been we met at Crave, saw, congratulations, went to the wedding, that's it. But, like, we were intentional, like, over time, like, let's get dinner. And it just kept building and building and building. And that's how it had to be. Because, like, we were both still testing the waters. And we both, even if I was the one who, like, ended things, you still had to trust me as your friend not to do it again. Like, you know, like, it was trust on both ends that we had to build for sure.
Yeah.
But we're here! And I'm very happy. We're back. Did you miss us? Was that TikTok?
Yeah, I still have it on my TikTok.
That's what I'll use for marketing. But anyways, thank you guys for listening. This was I'm sweating. That was definitely a vulnerable one, but I'm grateful that we had it. I think a lot of people will relate to it.
Yeah.
And,
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
And thank you to everyone that's listening. And, you know, if you're going through this, but just know that there's hope. And if there's not, then there's not. But, like, that's just life. That's just life.
There's other people for you then.
Yeah, I'm just grateful for this.
Yup. Bye.